Hi everyone, my name is Imani Salters. I'm 18 years old and I'm currently a freshman at North Carolina A&T State University. I'm really sorry that I couldn't be with you guys today, but it's actually second semester move-in day, and I will be streaming to you live from A&T later on. Here I'm a member of the Residence Hall Association, the Honors Program, and Air Force ROTC. I just joined a new church recently and it's called the Citadel of Praise, and I'm in the outreach ministry there. The first time I heard about the Singapore trip, I knew without a doubt I wanted to go. We had been studying the More Than a Fan series, and I never felt more compelled to go above and beyond in God and in my service to Him. And this coincided perfectly. The only thing was, it was the planning was done during my senior year, and the trip was scheduled to happen in between my senior year and my freshman year in college. And as it started getting closer and closer, I started feeling like maybe, okay, this is overwhelming. Maybe this isn't what I should be focusing on when it's time for me to go off to school. But for anybody who finds themselves in a similar situation, even if it's not like a transition like mine, if God intends for you to go someplace, He's going to provide for you to go. Whether it be time, financially, things are going to come together, and it doesn't even make sense for them to be coming together. If that's where you're called to go, if that's what you're meant to do. But my topics for today are going to be the worship experience, um, faith before and after the trip, and family groups. Thank you so much for letting me share with you guys. Now, this is going to come as a surprise to my team and probably to my mom, but my favorite part of the trip, even more than shopping, was the worship. The worship was unexplainable. It was so rare to see so many people, young people, worshiping without restraint. Now we had this worship song called Te Amo, and every time Te Amo came on, everybody got so hyped. They would like leave their seats, which most of them were on risers, and come down to the middle, and they'd form a chain, and it'd go all across the room, and people would just be dancing and worshiping. It was really amazing, but I never got in the chain until the very last day of the conference. I was like, oh, that's really nice that y'all are doing that, but I'm more of a clapper when I agree with the statement and wave my hand if I really like the song type of girl. But on the very last day, this little girl who couldn't be more than 12 years old came by, and she was like, "Come on, I can tell you want to." And I was like, "Okay." But the second time the chain came around, I was on the end, and she actually grabbed my hand and pulled me in. And I'm really glad that she did. I'm so glad that she did. Because that was the first time in my life that I worshiped unrestrained. And that's something that I took from my Singapore experience. You can't expect unrestrained blessings to pour in when you can't even praise without restraint. Um, Another thing that I feel like is going to stick with me for the rest of my life, after a sermon about how much God loves us, one of the ministers asked us to all say John 3:16 in our native language. I was like, okay. For God so loved the world. But that's as far as I needed to get in hearing over 1,000 people, and I don't even know how many tongues read the like recite this verse. It was so powerful, and never in my life saying this really popular verse that I've probably been saying since I was 3 or 4, never had the term world stuck up so much to me. Like, even though you don't understand me and I don't understand you, God gave His only Son for both of us, and that's just so powerful to me. His presence was so evident after that point that I don't feel like anybody could or ever would deny it. It was it was amazing. So my next favorite part would definitely have to be family groups. And family groups are like a support team, and it's made up of people of your own age. There were about 20 people in my group, and we all ranged from age 18 to 22. Now, because we're all from different countries, we're at different points in our lives. We had some people who were already working their careers, some people in college, some people still in high school, and we had about 50-50 married and single. But because we were all at a similar place with our spiritual maturity, we connected almost instantly. On the first day, you're supposed to have a group leader, and my group leader never showed. So it was a little bit awkward. We're all looking at each other like, what am I going to say to them? Do y'all speak English? But as soon as we got through the icebreakers, we were so real with one another. And I know you hear a lot of things about our generation, a lot of negative things especially, but I like to call us the generation of real. And we did our Bible study, but we really confided and vented to each other about some of the trials and tribulations that you go through being a young and devoted Christian. And I never felt more at home, even though I was in a room full of strangers. But it was a really amazing experience, and I still keep in contact with a lot of my family group. Actually, there's a couple of them that I probably talk to on a daily basis, and I just find it really amazing to think that somebody and on the other side of the world and people in different continents are lifting you up in prayer. That's amazing to me. Okay, so my last topic is faith before and after Singapore. And like I told you guys earlier, my name is Imani, and that means faith in Swahili. So this really hits home. I like to think that we're all on a continuous journey, but this specific chapter, its finality for me was in Singapore. As we studied the More Than a Fan series, I really challenged my faith, and I realized that what I was doing, and I thought it was correlating with the verse, faith without works is dead. So I was thinking, okay, I'll have my own hopes, my own dreams, my own aspirations for what I want, and whenever I get tired, when I do all my work, God is going to step in. He's going to give me that extra little oomph, and that's my faith. My faith was that He was going to do that. But after this trip that was totally outside of my comfort zone, and honestly, the first time I heard about it, I was like, okay, that's a really nice idea, but is it really going to happen? After seeing this play out and seeing so many miracles, financial, like the generosity of the people who made this happen, who made this experience possible for us, my faith has grown tremendously because I know that when God puts something in motion, there's nothing that can hold it back. There's nothing that can stop it from happening. And I've definitely taken that on with me to college and in everything else that I do. Even when things seem impossible, even when there's no way, you keep adding up figures and they're not adding up, and there's no way this could possibly come together. I know without a shadow of a doubt that if it's meant to be and if it's in His will, it's gonna happen. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't work for the things that you want, and that doesn't mean that you shouldn't work and you shouldn't serve. But no work and no service of ours can ever compare to God's ability and can ever compare to the miracles that He still works. So I guess that's a pretty good comparison of my faith before Singapore and after Singapore. Last thing, I'd like to send a very special thank you out to my parents, Pastor Johnson, my family at First Baptist of Moore Street in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and any other supporter who helped us put this together and make this opportunity a reality. I cannot begin to explain how much of an impact this has had on me personally and on my faith. My outreach has never been stronger than it is right now because after worshiping um, and speaking life to people who barely speak English or don't speak English at all. When you come back to the United States, there's not much that can hold you back, if anything at all. But I also like to thank the youth department of WBH and FM Auxiliary and all the other youth for listening. And if you don't mind, I'd like to share a few pictures with you guys.